Hello, everyone. We welcome you to this edition of News You Can Use. I am your host, Thera Martin Milling, and I'm glad to be with you. Today on the program, we're going to do something that we've sort of gotten into a tradition of doing for our first show of each new season, and that's to have Mr. Trent Pettis in with us. He is a real estate guru. He knows everything you need to know about purchasing properties and how to keep properties. He can even tell you something about how to save property from foreclosure. He'll tell you what's the forecast, what's the best time of year to purchase a property, all of that good stuff and some. Mr. Trent Pettis has also started a nonprofit organization so that he can help address the needs of low-income people in our community as it relates to housing. So he's going to share all of that with us and some. Stay along for this edition of News You Can Use. Alrighty, we are here to do our show and so glad for this opportunity to come into your home, your place of business, wherever it is that you happen to be watching LaSalle TV 56 right now. I'm just glad to be with you. I'm your host, Thera Martin Milling, and sitting by my side is the gentleman that I will call a regular to help us kickstart our new season for the last 3 years now, I think it's been. I've been blessed with the opportunity to be here at LaSalle to do a public affairs kind of a show, and this station is for the students, most of all, for the students of LaSalle University so that they can learn how to be the best professionals at this business. And the truth of the matter is, graduates from LaSalle University's communications department often do very, very well, and they are in positions in broadcasting, in management, and maybe not management, all kinds of different positions around the nation. So LaSalle students who graduate from here in communications, they got it going on. And then they take in old heads like me every now and then to do a little community show. We're thankful for the opportunity. Reverend Johnson hosts a show here. He is the one who first introduced me to LaSalle TV. And our fire chief, Fire Commissioner Sawyer, he hosts a program here. And there may be one or two others, but this station is really for the young people. It's for the students of LaSalle. And I feel blessed, I really do, to have an opportunity to sort of come in and hang out with them a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm glad to be here. I'm blessed also.
Yes. And in the meantime, it's so important because sometimes the mainstream channels, which I give them all their props and respect, they don't have the time to do the kind of programming sometimes that we do at LaSalle. And so when you talk about housing and properties and all of that, that's an important issue in my head. And I've seen so many people in recent years who've lost their homes to foreclosure. I've seen other people who have purchased a home for the first time, and boy, did they make a mistake because they didn't have somebody who really cared about them, guiding them through the process. There's a lot of twists and turns that go with purchasing a property, whether that be a home or a place where you're going to do your business or whatever. If you have a good real estate person representing you, they're going to tell you everything you need to look out for and all that kind of stuff. So I'm thankful for people like you. And the name of your company is Integrity Real Estate and Services. That's what you've got.
And that's why we named. And actually, I was just mentioning to you, Thera, we started 5 years ago yesterday. So we just celebrated our 5-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And as a result of the 5-year anniversary, we started a new nonprofit called Integrity Community Services. And the whole purpose behind that is to continue to give back. We do a lot of, we do, Christmas toys at Christmas. We do holiday meals. We do a Mount Airy Day where we give away free hamburgers, hot dogs.
So you're not one of those business people that's just existing because I want to make money and pay me.
We absolutely do a lot for the community. And absolutely, and that's where my heart is. And people know that, kind of know that. But the one thing I've always wanted to do when I first started the business was to be able to be in a position where we're giving out houses. And so with the Integrity Real Estate, we're going to actually give out houses. So what we want to do, well, now that we're nonprofit and we just started this, we're going to have people, sometimes people come to us and say, we have these houses that are in disrepair, disarray, we just don't want them. A lot of taxes, liens, so as a nonprofit, they can now donate the houses to us as a tax benefit to them, and we're going to have money donated, get grants, and we're going to renovate the properties, And we have a team of, contractors and everyone who are going to donate their time, and we're going to renovate them and give them back to families in need. And we're in the process of developing that now, but that's the whole purpose. I would love to get to the point where we're doing a house every month, but we want to give away houses to families that are in need, because there are a lot of homelessness. A lot of people, if you just, and what really comes to my mind when I think of families in need, a lot is going to be women with children. And you think about maybe this woman who is working, making $8, $9 an hour with 2 or 3 children, and if she, and it could be a he, but it's probably going to be a she, had an opportunity to get a house with no, didn't have rent, didn't have a mortgage payment, just how much this person could get ahead, and just how it could just change her life in this example, just could change her life.
But the other part of what you do, and what I love so much about you and your team that works with you, is that you hold various kinds of workshops, all of them in one way or another related to property and real estate and all that. But sometimes a new homeowner, a young homeowner like I was when I got my first house, I was 21 and I was dumb as grass. I didn't know anything about having a house or what I should do or shouldn't do. So I had a pipe burst in my basement, and I had a jackleg man from the community that all the other people on the block utilized. And so I said, come on to my house, I got a problem down here. And he checked and looked and he says, oh, that goes out to the street, we're gonna have to dig up the sidewalk. I said, okay, get to it. I didn't know you're supposed to have a permit. I didn't know that I should ask the man, do you even have a license to work in Philadelphia? Are you insured? I didn't know any of that. I was 21, what did I know? I was straight out of college.
And that's the reason we host the first-time home buyer workshops, and they're very popular, and they're usually, and we have a lot of fun. They're packed. They are. Every time. And the purpose is to take you go over the nuts and bolts of becoming a first-time home buyer. And we get a lot of people who are not only first-time, but they're second and third time, because even if you bought one property, you still don't know the entire process as well as you might need to know it when you go the second time around. So we go from, we talk about the credit. We want to actually get you in a position where you can buy, because sometimes people will come to us and they have some credit challenges. And actually, I don't know if I told you that I am finishing a book on credit, understanding credit, credit reports, credit score, which actually should be finished by the end of this year. So that should be coming out. But we walk you through the credit process. We walk you through what exactly you should be looking for. Should you get a home inspection? And of course, the answer would always be yes, always yes. What kind of loan should you get? Should you get an FHA? Should you get conventional? Should you get VA? So we just tell you the whole process about the home inspection, appraisal. What's the difference between a home inspection and appraisal? And we just walk you through that process so that you become an educated consumer. Because one of the things I learned was the best kind of consumer is an educated consumer, and that's what we try to do, educate the consumer.
Okay, so your new nonprofit is coming. You're going to do an event in October.
Yes, we're having a wine and cheese fundraiser to raise money for this event. It's October 10th at our office at 6633 Germantown Avenue, because we actually purchased our own building, which is across the street, and we're actually in the process of renovating it, because we've been renting for 5 years, and as a business we're growing, and so we were blessed to be able to buy a property at 8,000 square feet, and we're going to renovate part of it, and we're going to move in, so we don't have to pay rent anymore, so because we own the building. And so the nonprofit is going to be funded by this event that we're going to have on October 10th from 6 to 10. And we hope to raise money. And we've sold a lot of tickets. I mean, they're $100, but it's a good cause. It's tax deductible because it is a nonprofit event.
And so the money that you raise from the fundraiser October the 10th is going to go back to fuel your new nonprofit so that you can begin to get these houses that nobody else wants and prayerfully will give away to you.
And we have people now who are ready to get the houses. We have people who are now, we're just getting ourselves, we're positioning ourselves. And and it takes money because we have to apply for grants. I mean, there are things we have to pay off. When they give these houses, when you have houses that have been sitting around for years, houses you inherited, there are issues. There are definitely going to be issues. There are going to be unpaid taxes, unpaid water, gas, things of that sort that we're going to have to take care of as the owners of that property. And so we're kind of figuring out all the, everything we need to do in order to make this happen. But in the meantime, we're using the money to continue to do a lot of the work that we do in the community. We always have a big, coat drive and toy drive, and so we want to continue to do that, and just a lot of things we do for the people in the community. because we love the people in our community. We do, and they've been very supportive of our business.
That is excellent and good to know. All right, now I want to ask you about purchasing houses, and is there a better time of year than not to even buy a house? Like, do you get a special deal at a certain time? You're like with cars, people say, oh, buy a car. Yeah.
I would say, you know, we see, you might say maybe there are fewer people out in the beginning of the year, and in January, February, March, when it's cold, you see not as many buyers are out, because just for the obvious reasons, it's cold, it's icy, it's snow, people don't want to be in. You go into a lot of vacant houses, they're freezing, they don't have heat, so you don't see as many buyers out in the winter. Also, because after Christmas, most people don't have money. They need the tax refunds, and a lot of people we deal with are first-time home buyers, so they usually use that tax refund money as a down payment. So we'll see. Spring is always a good time for, you know, listen, any time for me as real estate broker, it's a good time to buy a property. So I'm never going to tell you no. But we see the market pick up usually in the spring. You'll see like April, May, depending upon the weather. March could be good, but if it's a really cold March, you know, it depends. But the spring is usually good towards this time, right after school. I mean, now that, like here in LaSalle, they just started a few weeks ago. Parents put their kids back in college, back in high school, whatever, and so now vacation's over. So now they're getting back and they're thinking, boy, I'd like to be in a house by Thanksgiving or by Christmas. Investors are thinking, I want to have a property by the end of the year so I can write it off on my taxes for next year. So we'll see business pick up around this time of the year. But if you're a homeowner, I think any time's a good time. You just make sure you have the right real estate broker and you kind of understand the process. There are a lot of classes, a lot of nonprofits in this city that offer, you know, first-time home buyer workshops. You can always call, look around. You can always call us. If I can give that number, it's easy to remember. It's 215-849-1111. Always easy to remember, 215-849-1111. Call us, and we'll tell you when we're having our next one. They're always free. We feed everyone. We make it a lot of fun.
Why you got to talk about food now when I'm starving to death? I don't know. But one of the other things that I want to talk to you about, and we'll do that when we come back from break, is what are the things that people who are purchasing property, be that a home or a place of business, that they need to look for in that community? What are things that people need to think about? Not just, oh, I like that building, that looks great. What are the other things that a buyer should think about and look at before they sign on the dotted line? We will continue our conversation with Mr. Trent Pettis in just a moment. He's the proud owner of Integrity Real Estate, now celebrating its 5th year of being in business. And while, yes, he is a businessman, he is someone who gives back in the community, who loves Philadelphia, who is truly making a difference in his part of the world, and we're glad to have him as our guest today on this edition of News You Can Use. We'll continue with our conversation in a moment. Please stay with us.
The United States Air Force has a proud history of leading our nation in embracing diversity. We've been reaching new heights for years by understanding it's our individual experiences which make us strong. You can share in this success by seeking opportunities to learn and grow as a member of a diverse team. We are the world's greatest Air Force, not because of what we do, but who we are. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Today, Eric Almirola behind the wheel in that 43 car.
We all have a role to play here at Richard Petty Motorsports. We respect each other, work hard, and that helped us get the big win in Daytona. My partners in the U.S. Air Force also know that it takes a team to make each mission a success. Your coworkers, family, and friends are your team. Treat them with respect, and together you can accomplish great things. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
You do, me, Jerry Mathers, from the television show Leave It to Beaver. I've been diagnosed with the disease, diabetic peripheral neuropathy, or DPN. DPN is damage to the nerve tissue of the peripheral nervous system. 60 to 70% of people with diabetes have some form of neuropathy. The most common form affects the hands and feet and can cause pain, burning sensation, and in severe cases, total loss of feeling. People with DPN need to take special care of their feet. More than half of the lower limb amputations occur in people with diabetes. Be proactive, monitor your blood glucose levels, follow medication therapies, and maintain proper foot health with your podiatrist. It worked for me. To learn more about DPN, go to www.neuropathyaction.org.
We are continuing now with this edition of News You Can Use, and we really set up the show to be an opportunity where we can really focus on real estate issues, saving your house from foreclosure, knowing the right things to do, the right moves to make when you're purchasing a property, be that a home or maybe a location for a business, a storefront, or what have you. And so we asked our very best friend that we know, who knows everything you need to know about real estate issues. That would be one Trent Pettis. He is the proud owner of Integrity Real Estate, and they are observing their 5th year anniversary this year of 2015. Congratulations again on that success. A lot of businesses don't make it past 1 year.
Right. And it was tough.
Yeah.
I mean, it was tough, but we've grown every year. And the reason we grow, I believe, because of the name. We call ourselves Integrity, and that's how we practice.
And you mean it.
That's exactly how we practice, and that's how we do our business. And so, but it was tough, because when we started, it was a recession. And people were not buying. We had just gone through the mortgage foreclosure crisis, and all the people who had lost their homes to foreclosure, and a lot of people just weren't buying. And so we persevered, and now we're grossing on.
So now, before we went to commercial break, I sort of teased the audience and said that we would talk about some of the things that people really should know before they purchase a property. But even before we go there, on this R word, recession, 5 years ago when you first opened, we were in it, hard and heavy, recession time. There's been some turnaround. The economy, they keep telling me it's a little bit better. I don't know. You got to show proof in my own personal life. I don't see it. But they say the economy is better now than it was certainly 5 years ago. So are we seeing as many people losing their homes to foreclosure in 2015 as we did in 2013?
Not as many now. Because I think what happened, a lot of the people who lost their homes, for a lot of reasons, but a lot of them had what we call those adjustable rate mortgages, where the interest rate would reset, and then every time it reset, it would go up. And we would see the rates go. A lot of people had what they call teaser rates. They may have had 2% for a year, and then it went up when it reset as a market. As the rates would go up, their interest rate would go up as they reset. And so we would find people getting a mortgage, for instance, for $500 initially, and then a year or 2 or 3 years later, it's now $1,200 and $1,300. And so when those mortgages began to reset, the people could not afford them. Because that's one of the reasons I don't advise first-time home buyers to get adjustable rate mortgages. You get a fixed rate where you know the mortgage payment remains the same for the life of the loan. The only thing that could change, the taxes could go up or down. The mortgage, the homeowners insurance could go up or down, and mortgage insurance will evaporate at some point. But so that's why we saw a lot of those mortgages kind of come to head a couple of years ago, and many of those homeowners or borrowers have already lost the property. There's still some out there, but it's not as many now. We've seen it kind of taper off. We've seen it taper off. And banks have been a little bit more lenient and willing to work with people as far as loan modifications, and you have the government programs that come in.
Those.
So a lot more banks are giving loan modifications. They weren't doing that 2 or 3 years ago. They were very hard. They were just exactly. They were very, very cold. So now I think even the mindset of banks, and I think with the push from the president's policies and the Congress, have made it a little bit easier for people to stay in their properties.
Okay. Now, again, I got one more question I want to ask you before I go to all the things we should look at and so on and so forth about the neighborhood and where we purchase properties that we're going to buy. Reverse mortgages. Can you speak about that for a minute? Is that a good thing, a bad thing, or indifferent?
You know what? A lot of people hate reverse mortgages. I don't have a problem with a reverse mortgage, and this is why. First of all, reverse mortgage is for people 62 or older.
Okay.
You have to.
I'm almost there. I'm almost there.
All right. If you the bank will appraise it. Let's say they say the house is worth 200. Any liens that you have, any other mortgages, all have to be paid off. So they give you a loan. They could give you money each month, a payment, let's say $1,000 a month. They can give you a lump sum, or maybe 50 or 100,000. They can give you a combination of two. But what we find with the reason I don't have a problem with the reverse mortgage, because there are a lot of seniors who are living on fixed income. Right. They say they're making $800 Social Security, but they're sitting on the property at 18th and Diamond in the heart of Temple. It's worth $250,000. Right. They don't have the money to renovate it. They're on a fixed income, and they don't have any money basically to eat almost, or to buy medicine. But they have this property that's worth a lot of money. Well, a reverse mortgage, it would help them, because now instead of having to pay anything, they're now getting money each month that would help them to have a better quality of life. And when they die, the reverse mortgage has to be paid back once you leave that property. Once that person dies or is put in a home or leaves for whatever reason, then it becomes due. But the issue, the thing that happens after that, if that person were to die, the heirs just have to pay back that mortgage. So the heirs may not like it, but I'm of the opinion that if you're not taking care of your mother or father in their older age, and they're having trouble paying bills or eating, I don't see why you would not do a reverse mortgage if it helps you with the quality of life. So I'm not opposed to them. One of the negative things about a reverse mortgage is they have a lot of fees associated with it. That'd probably be a downside. But I don't have a problem with a reverse mortgage.
Real quick, let's talk about a story in the news. So I'm not putting out anybody's personal business here. It's been in the Philadelphia Tribune. Bill Anderson on Fox 29 has covered the story. Our former general manager at a couple of stations where we work, Mr. Kearney L. Anderson, who unfortunately passed away this past year, and we all loved him and missed him so much. General manager extraordinaire in radio at many cities across the country. Anyway, so he had a beautiful home right off of 54th and City Avenue, and one of those expensive, big, huge homes. And he passed away. He did get a reverse mortgage, but since he's been out of, since he passed, his daughter was not living in the house, and some squatters moved in. Can you give us anything on squatters, and what rights do homeowners have against people who just move in your property because you are on vacation or?
I don't know how squatters move into a place. I just think it's trespassing, and I believe you just call the police number. I mean, I know it's a little bit more complicated, but with that situation, you can't, it's breaking and entering as far as I'm concerned. If I come home and someone has come into my home, then I'm going to call the police and I'm going to get them out. If and I'm going to change the locks back, because I don't know how
these people change the locks and everything.
I don't know how this happens, because as far as I'm concerned, they should have been arrested, because it's called breaking and entering.
The man has been arrested now. I saw that in the Philadelphia Tribune. They had his mugshot and the whole bit.
Well, that's exactly what should have happened, because it's called breaking and entering. That's what it is.
I thought there was something about squatters have a certain amount of rights, or you can't, if it's the middle of the winter and you discover them living in your house, can you put them out on the street, or do you have to be sensitive and wait till the spring when it gets warm?
Well, criminality, listen, if you break into my home, I'm not going to be terribly
You're going to deal with them.
I'm going to have the police escort them. I'm going to get them out. I mean, you can't, I don't care what time of the year is, you shouldn't be breaking in someone's home. You have no right to be in that home, and you have no right to break in someone's house and declare some type of right to someone's property. I don't understand it. All I see, the way I see it, it is trespassing and is breaking and entering, and that person or persons ought to be arrested. They have to be thrown out of that property and put in jail.
Well, as a former homeowner of several properties, whereas now I only have the one that I live in the past when things were different, had another homeowner, was a renter, had a renter there, and when this renter stopped paying rent and had gone for almost a year without paying rent, and I want her out of the house and whatnot. And I go one day to see about my property, to see what's going on inside, because she's saying this is leaking and that's leaking. She wouldn't let me in. And I had a professional contractor with me to check things out. And she called 911, and the police came, and I'm the homeowner, and I'm showing my deed to the house, and they said, does it matter? If you want to deal with this lady and she doesn't want you to come in my property, I had no right to come in my property. I was crushed. And I had to go through court and the court system to get her out.
And I think that's a little different because if you're talking someone who has a lease and they're not paying rent
In a year.
right? And it shouldn't take that long in Philadelphia. Now, it used to take a lot longer. You should be able to have someone out really in a few months. You know, but what you have to do, and we do a lot of property management, as soon as they miss that first day, as soon as they're late, you send it's called a 10-day notice. You give them that you say either you pay or you have to vacate. And if they don't, then, I mean, you file for eviction. And then that probably is a 2-month process. And then if they don't leave, when you go to court, the judge either give them a time to get out, or
Sheriff
they may
comes and puts everything on the
Well,
sidewalk.
that's the next process, because the first process is getting into court and finding out whether they're going to remain, whether you want them, sometimes they will bring the rent current. Other times they may just agree to leave. I mean, but when you get to the landlord-tenant court, then you all will work it out. If not, the judge may say you have to be out within 20 days. Now, if you're not out, then that next process where you actually have to eject them, you have to go back, file something else, and have the sheriff actually come out and physically remove them. And that's another maybe 30 days or so. So, but the process now is probably about 3-4 months tops. It used to take a while.
It just made me feel like the landlord, a homeowner, had no real rights next to the tenant.
But you also could, most lease agreements say that as a landlord, you have a right to come in and look at your property, and you just have to give a certain amount of notice. So if you gave the tenant a notice that you're going to come in, you know, then they have to honor that. But my thing is, if you're evicting someone as a landlord, I wouldn't advise you to go into that property, because then you can see all the
feelings.
Right. You can see all the potential liability. Right. You know, you don't know if they've got a pit bull there waving. I just would advise you to stay away and let the courts deal with it. Because
before we run out of time, because I've been giving the signal to start wrapping this thing up, real quick, shoot out some stuff for us on what people need to look out for when purchasing a property. What do they need to think about aside from just, oh, I like that house?
Well, I mean, we see a lot of beautiful houses that are in horrible condition. That's why you always have a home inspection. The most important thing you can do when you purchase a house is get a good, qualified, licensed appraiser. Home inspector. You're going to get an appraiser. Bank hires appraisal to determine value. You want a home inspection. You want to look at the house and say it's beautiful, but when the inspector goes in, he or she may say this house has structural issues, it has termites, it has all kinds of issues, and now you may not want it. But you also need to go around the neighborhood, make sure you're comfortable with the neighborhood. And there are a lot of other things you can look at. I know you need to go.
And I ran out of time.
Inspection is number one.
You are all that, the bomb. We're going to have you back again real soon. Trent, I wish you all the best on your next year of success with Integrity Real Estate. Phone number one more time, 215-849-1111. That's what's up. October the 10th, everybody. Don't forget, there's going to be a wonderful fundraiser for his nonprofit organization as Mr. Trent Pettis continues to give back in this community. And we want you to stay tuned for all the great programming coming your way here at LaSalle TV 56. Don't forget, we're also on Verizon Channel 36. A lot of good programming. It starts here in the heart of Philadelphia at LaSalle University. Have a great day, everyone. We appreciate you.